Hey everyone, welcome back. This is James Brumfield again. So this is actually my last video on deck stacks and queues for a while. I need to start putting some material online for trees and linked list and some of the other data structures. So let's step through this challenge that I solved a little while ago. So in this challenge, you must implement a simple text editor. Initially, your editor contains an empty string. You must perform queue operations of the following four types: append a string to another string, delete a character from the string, print a certain character from a string, and this one right here, undo the last not previously undone operation of type 1 or 2, reverting S to the state it was in prior to the operation. So essentially what that means to me is that for these two operations, we're going to push the result to the deck or the stack, and then we're going to, when we call for, we're going to pop it off to get the result before. So that's what that means to me reading that. And if as always, you go down here, we have some sample input data and the result here. So this is 8 operations. They add a string. They for this one, you want to print out the third character. So 3 is print. You want to print out the third character. So that's C. Down here, you want to print out another character. You want to print out the second character. So that's Y, because it feeds off this line. And the last one, you want to print out the first character. That would be A. And there should be, because one, you're concatenating to the string here. So it'll be A, B, C, X, Y. And you're going to print out the first character. Okay, so I'm going to step through this. And then I'll show you my, well, they give you an explanation down here, but I'll show you my logic. And I'll come back and forth here a few times to go over the problem just to make sure you guys know what I'm doing. And I typed this out before because I didn't want to spend time typing this. This is just a menu that I came up with for the operations. There'll be append a string, delete, print, undo. So those are the operations we're going to do in a string. So let me go to, where is it? Presentation mode. It's coming up. Okay, so let's go to our main class. Okay, first thing the problem said is that we need a string. So we're going to start with an empty string. So we'll use the string class. Let's call this working string. And that'll be an empty string. I'm going to put comments in this as I'm going empty string. There we go. Okay, second thing we need to do is always prompt the user. We're going to need the number of operations. That was that 8 that was at the top of the problem. So we're going to do sysout, enter the number of operations you want to perform on the string, actually, on the string. So we're going to read in a number. So we'll put a input, numerical input, do int number of operations. We'll read that in using the scanner class, okay? And we're going, like in the other videos, we're going to use a deck, and it's going to be of type string. So we'll use a deck, QUE, type string, takes a string class. Let's call this string stack. We'll use the deck backed by an array. So we call array deck. And it takes a type string. Come on, there we go. Computer's a little, don't freeze on me now. Okay, there we go. Oh, that's not what I want to do. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, oh, sorry, where's my browser? Where's my browser? Sorry. There we go. Okay, first thing we're going to do, we're going to push the empty string into the deck. So we're going to do string stack dot push and we're going to push the empty string. Now we're going to probably use a for loop because we know how many iterations we need to do. That's not spelled right. Perform. Okay. So we're going to use a for loop and we're going to iterate, X amount of times. So I'm going to do for int I equals 0, I less than, what's the number of operations? Oh, sorry. Operations. Then increase I by 1 every time. And just put some comments here. Type string. Push the empty string to the deck. Okay. So in the loop, this is where we're going to use these options here. We're going to prompt the user every time. So we're just going to cut this. Hold on, let me make sure I get all this. Okay, so every time this is going to come up. So this is, like I said, this is our menu. So the next thing we need to do is go down. Let's read in one of these numbers. So we're going to do an option. So we'll do int option. Let's see. So we're going to read it in every time. Next int. Now, I've been using a lot of else if, else statements, but we're going to use a switch statement for this case. So we're going to do switch. We're going to take it's going to take in the option here in integer. Okay. So let's deal with the first case, case 1. So that is append a string to the end of S. So we now, first thing we have is an empty string, but it's not always going to be an empty string. So this is simple. We're just going to concatenate 2 strings. That's essentially what it is. So sys out, enter the string you want to append to S. So we're gonna take input in from the keyboard again. String, let's call this append. sc.next, that one. So that's gonna read in a string. So we're gonna concatenate the strings. So it's just gonna be this, what we enter here, that's gonna be attached to the working string, which is up here. So it'll be working string append. So we're just concatenating 2 strings here. I could do working string equals working string plus that, but I don't want to type that out. So we're going to add the result. Add string to the deck. So it would be, what's the name of our deck again? String stack. Push. Sorry. Push. And it's going to be working string. So that is added to the top of the deck. And when we call this at some time, it'll pop off. If we only do this operation, say if we do 2 operations, if we concatenate a string and then we pop it off, that would be this line would take effect. It would be popped off. Okay. So clear the input line. So do xc.next. That just clears the input. And with switch, we need to break out. So we're going to break out of that. Okay. So let's go to case 2. Case 2 is delete. Case. So when I was figuring this out, this was a little, I was searching how to delete things. But since we're working with strings, I figured out how to do it, and I'll give a quick example of how I did it. So we're going to say sysout, and oh, sorry, how many characters do you want to remove from the string? Let's read that in. Int characters remove. Yeah, let's go characters to remove. We'll read that number in. Okay, nothing new here. Okay, so strings are immutable, but what we can do, as I was, trying to figure this out, we could do a substring. So let's assume we have a string ABC, and we want to remove two characters. So we want to return AB and remove CD. So you could just do a substring from 0 to 2. The 2 is not inclusive, so it's going to return the character at position 0 and the character at position 1, which would be AB. So that's what we could do. So we're going to do working string. Well, let's say, as I don't need a comment. So working string. That's going to equal, now it's a string, so we could call a method on it. We're going to call it substring method. And we're going to use this one right here. We're going to start at 0. And remember, it's not inclusive. So let's just say we remove two characters, so we need to do working string dot length. So our length is 4 in our ABCD example. So let's do the length. That's another method. Minus the characters to remove. So let's go over that one more time. So in our example ABCD, that's of length 4. So we want to remove. We only want to return two characters. So we're going to start at 0. And we're going to return up into the length, so it's 4 minus 2. Now remember I said it's not inclusive, so it's going to return characters as position 0 and 1. So it's going to return A, B, and discard C and D. So that's essentially what that means. I'll put a semicolon here. Let's push the result. Sorry. Push the result to the deck. Nothing new here, so we'll do string stack dot push, and we're going to push working string. Clear the input line again. I'll just do this. That looks right. Okay, let me just say return a substring. That's all we're doing. Okay, so that is that. What's option 3 now? I might have enough time to do it. Print the K character. I may not have enough time, so I'm just going to set up some. Also need a break statement. Can't forget that. Not double. Sorry. Double. Do case 3. I think I could do one more. Just I'm not gonna have time, but I'll just do this so I know where I left off. Sysout. Actually no. What are we doing? So we're doing print the cave character of S. Okay, that's what we're doing. So the way I want to word it is, what is the position of the character you want to see? So we're going to say it's our ABCD example. But we'll get back to that in a second. Let me save this. I'm going to end the video here, and we'll wrap this up, and we'll go through the next one. But thanks for coming in. Stay tuned.